Jemi rikthyer përsëri në studio. Unë kujtoj se jemi në transmetim të drejtë për drejtë, si çdo ditë tjetër të javës, është fundjavë. Në fakt është e premte, kështu që ne pak nga pak po shkojmë në përfundim të transmetimit tonë dhe të kësaj jave. Ndërkohë, më duhet ju kujtoj se ne jemi çdo ditë live nga ora 11 deri në orën 13. Do të shkëputemi vetëm gjatë 2 ditës. E premtja në fakt është ajo që ne sjellim gjithmonë një përmbledhje të javës që lam pas, të pasdites së serialeve në ekranin e Vizion Plus dhe inserti që sapo ndoqëm ju informoj kështu mbi ngjarjet që kanë ndodhur. Unë e di që ju me zori prisni ato oraret e serialeve dhe fundjava në fakt për ata që i ndjekin me padurim nuk është ajo që këndshme, sepse duhet presim të hënën për të nisur kështu vazhdimsinë e ngjarjeve. Kishim edhe personazhin e ditës ku mësuam më shumë dietën dhe jo vetëm, sepse është një tjetër pjesë kurioze dhe unë e di sepse ju na shkruani vazhdimisht në Facebook, në faqen tonë Mesditë. Kujtoj edhe një herë që kjo është faqja ku ju mund të shikoni të gjitha videot e këtij emisioni dhe pse jo detaje të tjera dhe mund të na kontaktoni për gjithçka që doni të shihni në transmetimin tonë të drejtë për drejtë apo pyetje të natyrave të ndryshme që ju mund të keni. E meqense është fundjavë, për te planeve që mund të keni bërë për të kaluar fundjavën, e rëndësishme është që të jetojmë shëndetshëm dhe thuhet her pas here që shëndeti fillon nga mendja, sepse është ajo që na udhëheq dhe na bën të kemi mendime të mira apo mendime të këqija. Psikologët gërmojnë shumë në këtë pjesë, kështu që është e rëndësishme që ne të dimë të vetë menaxhojmë veten dhe të kemi vetëm mendime të bukura dhe optimiste në mendje. Informacioni i radhës na vjen nga një psikologe angleze, e cila pak ditë më parë ka qenë në kryeqytet dhe ne kemi përfituar nga rasti për të marrë disa këshilla pikërisht se si mund të largojmë mendimet e këqija nga mendja dhe të mbajmë vetëm ato të mirat, kështu dhe hiqemi më mirë në jetën tonë. Bëhet fjalë për psikologen Tox Beverly Cooker, e cila është trajnuese e shëndetit mendor ndër të tjera. Me këtë intervistë ne ndahemi nga Mesditë për të takuar ditën e hënë në orën 11. Mirupafshim.
Cila është forma për të larguar mendimet e këqija?
The best way to remove negative thinking is to decide that you are ready to remove negative thinking. Now, some people can tell you you have negative thinking, but you may not think so. And some people may say it's time for you to stop your negative thinking, but you may not even be ready. So number one, you may know you have negative thinking, and yet you may not want to change it because you're comfortable. Sometimes you're so comfortable with negative thinking, you're not ready. So the first thing is you need to decide that you are ready for change. Once you are ready for change, you can start to decide. And there are many ways you can decide that you're ready to get rid of negative thinking. One of the most powerful ways is what I call pivot. So that is, I'm not good enough. You pivot that to, I am good enough. I'm not worthy to I am worthy. This ability to pivot is in your mind, so you're starting with your mind. So one way is to work on your mind because most of the negative thoughts are in your mind. And this is very, very, very true. Sometimes negative thoughts come from you. Sometimes they come from other people or from when your boss or your teacher tells you you're not good enough and you'll achieve nothing. And then I go, pivot. I have been told that I will achieve nothing. Pivot means I will achieve everything. I am ready to achieve everything and more. So again, it's you talking to yourself. Because you have other people who talk to you, but the most important conversation are the words you have with yourself. So how often do you have tea with yourself in your mind? And how often do you criticize yourself in your mind? You see, we have an inner critic. This inner critic is the negative. You're not good, you can't do it, you're useless, you're useless, you're useless. No, you can breathe in. So you start to breathe in and fill your brain with oxygen. You start to change the way you think. By breathing in fresh air, you start to pivot your mindset. So all of you watching, just think, breathe in and breathe out. It feels nice, doesn't it? So by taking a conscious decision to change your mind, even your breathing, even the way you sit. So negative thinking can affect the way you sit. You can sit like this, or you can sit like this. You can sit like this. can sit like this, or you can sit like this. And when you sit like this, it means you're confident. So the choice is always is yours. You have to make a commitment to yourself. So one of the ways that I deal with my negative thinking is sometimes I play music and I dance. And then sometimes I write down all my negative thoughts. I take a pen and a paper and I write them down. And when I write them down, I just release everything from my brain, from my mind. And that way, I clear the clutter in my mind. This is very important. You see, there are various techniques to release negative thinking. Various. You have to find the one that suits you. Now, I've been working on myself, so I know the ones that suit me. So today, all I'm doing is just mentioning one or two different techniques that could help you. Another way that could help you with the negative thinking is, of course, you could see a psychologist. You could go and see a therapist. So you can have a talk therapy or even a counselor. It's important that when you go and talk to someone, they are professional and qualified. Of course, you can sit down and talk to your friend and have a beer, you know, and have a glass of champagne. But I ask you, is that really helping you, or are you just churning and repeating your negative thought and the person is simply agreeing with you and you're not making any progress in your mind or in your life? A negative thought is a good thought to have, because the moment you have a negative thought, you know you can no longer rest and fall asleep. You have to say, hey, 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 what is this? You've got to take action. It's like when it's time to have a shower, you have a shower. When it's time to brush your teeth, you brush your teeth. If you do not have a shower and you do not brush your teeth, you will smell. A negative thought smells and people feel it. So when you walk into a room, they feel it. They don't want to sit with you. When you pivot and create a positive thought, and even when it's difficult for you to smile, if you just go and smile from your heart, I'm going to demonstrate. So you're working with your breathing and you're smiling from your heart to create something different. And by smiling, you begin to turn that negativity into something positive. Even you radiate positive thought. And by working on yourself, it's easy to point fingers at somebody, but can you see? There are 4 fingers pointing back at me. We always say, oh, they're negative, but isn't it time you looked at your own negative thought patterns and stop saying, oh, that's not good, or that's not good, or that he's not, and look and say, where am I negative like that person that I am judging? Where am I? Or where could I improve? And where can I stop thinking negative thoughts about myself and about other people? How can I empower myself? How can I empower myself to be a better person, to create abundance and wealth and money and great health in myself? How can I help myself? Of course, when you are very, very depressed and you're very, very sad, it may be very difficult for you. That's why I'm here. I am demonstrating by showing you how, with breathing and breathing in love, and breathing in joy, and breathing in light, creates a lightness of spirit, a joyful heart, and you start to smile with your heart, your mind, and your body, and your soul. And that's so nice. And another great thing you could do is you could pray. You could pray to Allah. You could pray to God. You could pray and ask for help. Ask for spiritual assistance. Make a private connection. Come back home to yourself and talk to yourself and say, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Help me. Help me. How can I improve? How can I improve myself and stop this? that holds me back, that sabotages my life, stops my career, stops me from finding a husband or a wife, stops me from asking for the promotion, stops me from talking my truth. So I keep saying, yes, yes, yes. I don't have the confidence. So a negative thought process enables you to know that it's time to activate your courage, activate your confidence, activate your own humanity so that you start to love yourself. That's why I embrace negative thoughts, because the negative thoughts tell me it's time to start loving myself. So today I ask you all to start to love yourself. Today, put your hands on your heart and say, today I love being me. Today I love me. Today I am full of the abundance of life.
A këshillohet që të qajmë personat që janë të pushtuar nga mendimet e këqia?
Yes, I believe crying can affect in a positive way your negative thinking. Now, when you think of crying, you have tears, and tears is water, and water represents flow because you're flowing with the energy. So when you are crying and you have tears, the tears are helping you to release the sadness, the depression, the trauma, the feeling of hatred you have to yourself, the feeling of fear you may have that you are not good enough. So everyone cries for different reasons. Some people cry a lot, and some people don't cry at all. So some tears you will see, and some tears you will not see, but you can tell from the body language of a person. So for me, tears represent cleansing. They represent connection to your soul, to your essence, and they help you to release your pain, release the negative condition. You see, when you have an aha moment is a moment when you feel like, wow, it's an insight. And then the tears can help you to have an aha moment, a realization that you are good enough, a realization that you can achieve what it is you want. You can buy that dress, you can afford that plane ticket, you can buy that house, you can ask that man to marry you, or you can ask the woman to marry you, because not always are women able to ask. They can cry, I want him to marry me and he hasn't asked me. So by crying about that, they're releasing their pent-up emotion and stress, and by doing that they just let that out. And then after crying, I've cried, now I feel I'm going to get myself dressed up, I'm going to look pretty, and I'll make sure I'll be there at the party where I'll know he'll be there and I'll be able to smile at him. So instead of feeling small, instead of feeling that she's not pretty enough, after crying, she empowers herself through her tears. Crying is water. Water is movement. Water is flow. Water, and we call this tears from the angels. So when we cry, we say the angels are crying through you, and the angels are healing you and wrapping their arms around you and saying, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So for me, tears are healing water. Tears are sitting and being hugged by the angels. Tears are Allah saying to you, I hear you, my child. You are my child. And I love you.
Memorizimi i mendimeve të këqija ka të bëjë me fëmirin tonë se si jemi rritur?
Our childhood impacts our negative thinking because we have been brought up by our parents or our uncles and family members, and if they have negative thought patterns and make you feel that you're not good enough, they constantly shout at you or they beat you and tell you that you are nothing. Yes, that kind of behavior can make you feel inferior and affect your thinking. So constantly being shouted at, constantly being beaten, constantly being told that you are not good enough and you're not setting the table properly, you're not putting on your clothes properly, that can make you feel small, insignificant. So yes, your parents can affect your negative thinking. Because they can put a thought in you that applies for them but doesn't apply for you, because you're a new generation. You're creating a new way. Some of the thoughts will help and work for you, some may not work for you. So again, negative thought pattern is influenced by parents. When they tell you you should be a doctor and a lawyer, but you want to be a psychologist, you want to be a healer, you want to be a mechanic, you want to be a carpenter, you want to be a filming man, you don't want to be a doctor. So you have to determine that that infiltration into your mind activates something good for yourself.